everyone.
We will discuss about vocal music of the Romantic period.
Vocal music. Vocal music is one of the best tools for experiencing one's feelings and emotions. The feeling of grandiosity, intimacy, unpredictability, sad, rapture, and longing are the main characteristics of the period. The basic quality of the Romantic period is emotional subjectivity. The vocal forms of music like art, song, and operas about fantasy, romance, supernatural, and nature are the mirror of the human heart. So, basically, the main focus of vocal music is to make us feel different emotions by them expressing it through music and songs.
What is vocal music? Vocal music requires singers to perform greater range of the tone color, dynamics, and pitch. Art song. Art song or lieder is the most important vocal form developed during Romantic period. This song is very expressive for solo voice with piano accompaniment. Francis Schubert and Johannes Brahms are the most famous composer of lieder. Opera. It is more elaborate and grand. It is the most important source of musical expressions. The composers like serious and tragic subjects. Richard Wagner is the well-known composer of that period. Folk and popular songs. It is developed throughout one's country. The songs generally have themes of both work, love of the land, and leisure.
Famous opera composers of Romantic period. First, Franz Peter Schubert. Franz Peter Schubert, he was an Austrian composer of the late classical and early Romantic eras. He developed lieder, which is the German word for song. He was also known as the earliest master of the Romantic art song. His music consists of over 600 secular vocal works, 7 complete, sacred music. Schubert's imaginative harmonies and dissonances provide some of the most poetic moments in music. His famous vocal works are Erlkönig, Ellengesang III or Ave Maria, Gretchen am Spinnrad, Swan Song, and the piano pieces String Quartets, Operetta, and the Symphony No. 8 in B minor or Unfinished Symphony. So here is the 10-second clip of the Unfinished Symphony by Franz Peter Schubert. The second composer we will talk about is Giuseppe Verdi. Giuseppe Verdi, he was an Italian and the most popular composer of opera. He composed music not only for the mass public, whose main entertainment was opera. He developed a musical education with the help of local patron. The soul of Verdi's opera is the expressive vocal melody. The subjects of his compositions are original, interesting, and passionate. His works are serious, which end unhappily and involve extremes of hatred, love, jealousy. His much acclaimed works are La Traviata, Otello, Rigoletto, and Aida, which he wrote for the opening of the Suez Canal. So here is the 10 seconds clip of Aida by Giuseppe Verdi. The third person we will talk about is Giacomo Puccini. Giacomo Puccini he was an Italian composer who created some of the best love operas. He was also a church organist. He's been called the greatest composer of Italian opera after Verdi. The subjects of his compositions are realism, drawing material from everyday life and history. And church organist is a musician who plays any type of organs. Some of his works are La Boheme, Tosca, Madame Butterfly, which was set to Japan, and Turandot for China. They have melodic and rhythmic elements derived from the music of those countries or inspired by those countries. So here is the 10 seconds clip of Madame Butterfly by Giacomo Puccini. That's all, and thank you for listening, and have a nice day everyone.
Georges Bizet, 1838 to 1875. Georges Bizet was a French composer and pianist of the Romantic era who was best known for his opera Carmen, which has become one of the most popular and frequently performed works in the entire opera repertoire. Georges Bizet was best known for his operas in a career cut short by his early death. During a brilliant student career at the Paris Conservatory, Bizet won many prizes, including the prestigious Prix de Rome in 1857. He was recognized as an outstanding pianist, though he chose not to capitalize on the skill and rarely performed in public. Bizet did not live to see its success, as he died from angina at the age of 36, a few months after its first few performances on his third wedding anniversary. Georges Bizet's famous works, Habanera, Toreador Song, Carmen Fantasy, La Chanson de la Rose. Famous composers of Romantic period. Richard Wagner, 1813 to 1883, was a German composer, theater director, polemicist, and conductor who is chiefly known for his operas. Was born in Leipzig from a theatrical family. He was inspired by Ludwig van Beethoven and introduced new ideas in harmony, form, and chromatics. Wagner explored the bounds of the traditional tonal system that gave keys and chords to its own identity, which covered the way for the rise of atonality in the 20th century. The new form of opera that Wagner advocated is called music drama, where musical and dramatic elements were fused together. Wagner had his own opera house built, the Bayerische Pfeifferhaus, which embodied many novel design features. Richard Wagner's famous works, The Master Singers of Nuremberg, Tannhauser, Parsifal, Tristan and Isolde, and the Valkyrie.
Components of the opera. There are 4 components of the opera. Starting off, we have the libretto, which is the text of an opera. This is often called as the book, which refers to all the parts of the script except the music. And the one who writes the libretto is called a librettist. Next is score, a notation showing all parts of a musical ensemble with a separate staff for each part used by the conductor. This is the same with the libretto, but it shows all of the musical notes, words, and ideas to help the performers tell the story. Third is recitative. It's a vocal line in an opera, oratorio, or cantata that imitates the rhythms and pitch fluctuations of speech, often serving to lead into an aria. The word recitative also came from the words recitativo, which is Italian, or recitare, which is Latin, which means to recite. Lastly is aria. It's a song for solo voice with orchestral accompaniment found in operas, oratorios, and cantatas. It is also the song that the public remembers best after leaving the opera house. This also gives a character a chance to share their inner thoughts and emotions with the audience. Moving on, it is also important to know the types of voices of singers. Here are the 3 main voice types for male singers. First, we have tenor, which is the highest male voice. Second, we have baritone, which is the middle male voice and also the most common male voice. Last, we have bass, the lowest male voice. And moving on, we have also the 3 main voice types for female singers. First, we have the soprano, which is the highest female voice, but within the soprano are 3 more subcategories. Starting off, we have the coloratura, which is the highest soprano voice. Next is lyric, which is characterized by a bright and full sound. And last, dramatic, which is characterized by a darker, full sound. Now going back to the 3 main voice types for female singers, we have the mezzo-soprano, which is the most common female voice, and is also a strong middle voice with a tone that is darker or deeper than the soprano. And lastly, we have the contralto, which is the lowest and deepest female voice in an opera, and it is also known as the most unique female voice.